talking about diction and syntax and a few other things, but those are the main ones that we're going to talk about. Oh, well, they flow into those. So if someone says, wow, your dress is so cute, this can be a good thing. It can be a compliment or it can be a bad thing. How is that possible? It's all about emphasis. So what word you put the emphasis on, and also the background knowledge of that individual who is speaking. So if your friend says this, then you can pretty much guess that it's a compliment. However, if an enemy says this to you, you might ask yourself how they really mean it. So you can say in a positive way, wow, your dress is so cute. Or in a negative way, you can say, your dress is so cute. And that sounds a bit more sassy and not as well intentioned as the other one. So it is about emphasis on the words and about your background knowledge of that person. And since we're talking about words, it is not merely just the words that you use in writing or speaking, but sort of how you say them. And just like this, so just like the scenario before, a lot of writing or reading or anything like that, it's more than just the words on the page, and they can have different meanings or purposes. So first we're going to talk about syntax. Syntax is the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. All you really need to know is that is the arrangements of words and sentences, are words and phrases to make a sentence. So words and phrases, words plus phrases that equal a sentence. That's all you need to know. Style. So style is how a writer writes. So each person is going to have their own unique style. Writers will write very differently from one another, even famous ones. So J.K. Rowling might have a different style than Stephen King. Stephen King might have a different writing style than like Holly Black. So all of these different writers, while they are famed and sort of promoted for their art, they write in very different ways. So that is style. And also, it's not necessarily what they're writing about, but how they are writing. Just like you will have a different style than your classmates. So what is diction? Diction is the choice and use of words and phrases in speech or writing. So it is merely just word choice. So what word are you going to choose to put into this sentence over another word? That's all it is. It's just word choice. So if a writer is writing something to make a reader feel angry about something, then they might use words like infuriated, righteously angry, or they may use negative words about the opposition to stir anger in the reader. So just think about these words, and if you think about these words, they automatically bring about a certain connotation, which we're going to talk about in a few slides. And they automatically bring about a certain kind of feel. So gleeful, seem kind of happy, charming, while despicable is on the other end, so a little bit less positive. And then you think of plain, so kind of a word that, with like its meaning, doesn't mean too strongly on one side or the other, kind of simple. But here you have some animals. And automatically, if you think of these animals, I feel like you can get a sense of like a personality or like something associated with them. So you think of bunnies, you think of high-spirited, you think of cheerful, you may think of Easter. You get candy on Easter, going Easter egg hunting when you're a child. So you might have very positive connection with bunnies. Foxes, maybe you think clever or sly, or Swiper from Dora. So kind of sneaky. And then rats, you normally think of dirty, of they carry diseases. People say that they have a lot of negative connotations, which is coming, to to that. It's just a word representing a group of animals, but there it is. And anything about a gopher. I just think that they're kind of just like plain, just like animals that don't really want to cause a lot of harm. They're just kind of there. So that's the vibe that I get. Next, we're going to talk about tone. And now, tone is the general character or attitude of a place, piece of writing, or situation, etc. So, talking about this in writing, some tone examples in writing can be informational, cheery, depressing, frustrated, righteous, happy, frightening, hopeful. The list goes on. So, what would you say that the tone is for these? For the following. So for a newspaper. Now, for a newspaper, I would say that I would want a newspaper to be informational. If a newspaper is not informational, then why does it exist for? I feel like informational is a newspaper's main tone. It's there to provide you with insight into your world. The next one, say like a newscaster has just heard about like a natural disaster and they get a little briefing that they have to read on air. While it is going to be informational, the tone may also be sort of sad, depressing, shocked, maybe. Shocked would work there as well. So the tone can be different things. And the next one, an article detailing honor roll students from a local middle school. So this one's probably going to be also informational because they're giving you facts, but it's probably going to be happy, prideful. They're going to be proud of their students for doing well. They're going to want to encourage maybe the kids to keep it up. To keep up that good grade, their good grades. So it could be encouraging as well. The last one, an article about mask wearing. Now it could be informational. Okay, so it could be scientific. However, based on who it is written by, it could be either encouraging people to wear masks. It could be disparaging those who do. It could be taking a negative or a positive stance based on who is writing this, which we talked about before with SOAPs. So subject, occasion, audience, speaker. Subject, occasion, audience, purpose, and speaker. So think about who is writing these things as well. And then here we have connotation, which is just like what we talked about before, but now we're getting to it. So this is an idea or feeling that a word invokes in addition to its literal or primary meaning. Now you know that a rat is the definition in the dictionary is probably just small mammal, something like that. But when you hear it, you think, oh, they're dirty or they're scary, maybe you're afraid of them. So that feeling that you get about the word is the connotation, while the dictionary definition is something else. So what do you think of when you hear these words? Carnage. If I think of carnage, I think of one of those video games, one of those really violent video games where there's just like body parts everywhere. That's what I think of. Or carnage after that normally happens. You hear it after like a war or a battle. So you think very negative, very scary, very depressing, very sad. And disaster is the same way. So you think maybe you're very shocked. Maybe maybe it's caused damage. You feel like if someone came up to you and was like, oh, there's been a disaster, then you're going to feel a little bit hesitant, maybe apprehensive, nervous. So those feelings that you associate with the word is connotation. And then fiend, if someone's a fiend, it's like a bad guy, so maybe you don't trust, maybe like untrustworthy. And then the word light. So if you think of light, you can think of a million different things. And we've talked about symbolism previously. So you think of light, you think maybe warm, bright, nice, happy, friendly. So you get the feelings associated with the word, which is connotation. So what makes a persuasive writer? A persuasive writer will use any and all of these factors to their advantage in writing. They want to communicate an idea. Writers want to communicate an idea in the strongest way possible without dragging on the point. They know that readers have a very short attention span, and you need to grab their attention right away. You need to tell them what the deal is right then, and they use all of those tools that we talked about to hammer the point in as quick as possible, but as memorably as possible. And so remember that the connection with words and feeling as we read our new text. So remember the connection with words. So remember diction, tone, remember soaps from previous, remember connotation, remember style, remember all of those things as we read our next text and all of the text coming, and try to really use these skills to analyze what the writer is trying to say. And that would be really, 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 really useful in the future and for writing papers and for answering questions and everything like that. So that's it. Thank you.